Happy Canada Day, everyone. Um, Hi, it's me, V again, and it's Canada Day, and it is, yeah, it's Canada Day. It's 52nd Canada Day, and I wanted to talk to you guys about what it means to me to be a citizen of this country, of this land that does not belong to me or my people. We just occupy it because that's what I was taught. These stewards of the land and all this other, I don't know, colonial bullcrap that kings and the rich would tell these people in order for them to maintain control of the land and of what they own. It's not mine. That's something that I want to get across to everyone, that this land is not mine. I'm not taking it with me when I die. I'll take the memories that I have, but yeah, me and my people were here first, but I was taught that we are here to take care of the land and it takes care of us, and we don't own it. We just occupy it, and we do what we can to make sure that our Mother Earth is maintained. So again, I was taught that we don't own any of this. So quit telling me that this land was mine before yours, because I wasn't even here then. I'm here now. And this land belongs to whoever owns the deed to whatever it is that they own it to, but to say that I own it, I can't. Because that's not what I was taught. That's not what my grandma taught me. That's not what my people taught me. The indigenous people of this land have taught me, an indigenous person of the land. So when you white people, I'm not even saying white people, when you Caucasian people go and you post all this negative stuff that says that the church has to pay and happy colonization day, you're just spreading more hate and more negative propaganda is what you're doing. And you're also looking like a child because you're saying, hey, look at me, I'm not racist. Hey, this guy's a racist over here, but I'm not, and I'm gonna call myself a white privileged piece of shit because I want to prove to you that I'm not racist and I didn't ignore your trauma and pain for the past however long I've been alive. I'm not racist, look at me. Because that's the truth. You have been. You've watched our people kill ourselves on the streets, and you've stepped over our homeless. And I'm not just saying indigenous people, but all people. The people that you ignore. The ones that have gone through so much trauma that they are on skid row and they don't care anymore. That's how I feel about you people that post that kind of negative stuff and negative propaganda, because you're not helping anyone. You look childish. Grow up. Seriously, grow up. Because we don't need that negative shit in the world. There is enough negative bullshit going on. We don't need it. So what does Canada mean to me? Well, I'll tell you. I was born in Williams Lake, BC. I spent most of my life all over the lower mainland and all over the coast. When I lived with my grandma in Williams Lake, we would spend the summers going to powwows, to sundances, to we would go berry picking, and we would fish for salmon during spawning season, and we'd spend our summer picking berries and catching salmon and planting vegetables and growing vegetables and living off the land. See, that land part is what means something to me. Because that's where I'm from. This is where I'm from. Originally, this is where I'm from. So I'm proud of where I'm from. Because this is what I know. You see, when I was a kid, I got to go huckleberry picking, blueberry picking. I got to fish for rainbow trout in Gustafson Creek. We got to we took big giant stones and we laid them across the creek, and my grandpa would scoop these rainbow trout out of the water, and we would eat them fresh right out of the creek. We would take the eggs and we'd boil them and we'd eat them, the trout eggs. We lived off the land. Again, this is land that I'm from. We'd do that. During spawning season, we'd spend 2-3 days with my grandpa at Farewell Falls, and yeah, we just fish all weekend with my grandpa. And I remember that as a kid. I remember following lines of rope up sides of cliffs with 2 or 3 salmon in the back of my potato sack. And we'd sleep in the car. And we'd go home. And we would gut and skin. Not skin. We just gut and hang and wrap and dry. Freeze the salmon. We'd can it. I grew up with that. I grew up with my grandpa hunting wild game, deer, moose, pheasant. We got to live off of this land. This land that's called Canada. This land that's my home. And the terrible things that have happened on this land to me, they're just terrible things that have happened that doesn't take away from the land that I'm from. It's my home. You see, I can tell you about all the terrible stuff that the residential schools did to my family. You know, my grandpa told me that he was whipped by priests after he was raped for speaking his language. And they whipped him across the back of the neck and they blew his eardrum. And now he has a constant stutter. He loves the land. He loves the people. He doesn't love the government or the people that hurt him. And he's chosen to move on. Not live in that hate. Because that hate would consume him and destroy him like it's destroyed me and lots of other people. He taught me to be proud of where I'm from and what I am. I'm from Williams Lake, BC. I am a status Indian. And I'm proud of where I'm from, the land that I'm from, the life that I got to experience, because I've heard stories from where other people are from. I've heard stories from child soldiers from Africa and how they had to fight for their lives, not for their country, but for their own lives. And they were children. I'm grateful I didn't have to experience that. Yeah, I had a lot of terrible shit happen to me when I was a child, but I didn't have to experience that. And this land is a safe place for those people to come. I used to be against the idea, but I've met some of these people and I've heard some of their stories, and I know that they don't get all this money from the government. I've asked them. If you actually meet a refugee, ask them what they get from the government, how much they actually get. Because most of them will tell you that they have to find jobs and they don't get all this free healthcare. Some of them get that free healthcare right away because it's an emergency, and I understand emergencies, but for the most part, they're on their own. They came to my land for refuge. The least I could do is show them some hospitality. Because that's what my grandma taught me. You see, she went through the residential schools, but she still taught me to be a good person, to take care of people. Because that's what my people have taught me. That's what we do as the Shuswap people. We care for each other. We love each other. We accept each other. I may not get accepted on my reservation all the time because I left. I may be looked at as different because I'm not on the res, but I still hold that love that my grandma taught me for people, for the land that provides me a home, food, growth. There were things that have happened in this country that were inhumane, but it's not the land's fault. Yeah, I'm mad at the government. I'm mad at I'm mad at the Catholic priests that would rape my mom and my aunts and my uncles and my grandpa and my grandma. But I don't hold on to that hate anymore because it hasn't gotten me anywhere. I've spent most of my life holding on to that hate and hating all of you white people and anyone that has to do with the church. I hated all of you. And now a lot of you are making a big deal out of it. Where were you when my grandpa was fighting at Gustafson Lake standoff to Sundance? When Wolverine and the people of the Shuswap Nation were fighting to Sundance. That was all over the news in 1995. Where were you then? My grandpa is still considered a terrorist to this country, but he loves the land. He takes care of the land because that's what our people do. We take care of the land because it takes care of us. So if you want to hold on to this hate, hold on to the hate, but keep it to yourself because it's not getting anyone else anywhere. You posting that this stupid negative propaganda, happy colonization day BS, it's dividing us as a people because on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, you have indigenous people arguing over this country, arguing over something petty that we can't control, and you're dividing us. So grow up. Stop with the negative bullshit. Stop with the negative acts for attention. You're grown up. Act like a grown up. Quit dividing us. Quit posting I'm not a racist, but those guys are. Nah, I totally didn't ignore your problems for the past 20, 30 years and just step over you like you didn't exist. And now that we're all looking at the problem, you guys are making a big deal out of it. And then when I point some shit out and say that you're acting like a child, you blow up on me? No. No. I ain't having that shit. We ain't doing that. I'm not trying to defeat you with negativity. I'm trying to tell you to have some common sense and grow the fuck up. You're grown ups. Quit dividing us. I may not be proud of how the government has treated my people. I may not be proud of how we're forced on reserves, and if we don't live on the reserves, we're kind of SOL. Because I haven't lived on the reserve in 18 years. It's the last time I lived on a reserve. I live in Canada now. I don't live on my reservation. I live outside of my reservation. I live away from my people, but I'm still proud of the land. I'm still proud of the experiences that I've experienced. I'm still proud of everything that I've done, and I'm grateful for it. We may not have clean drinking water on the reservations, but we have water. Yeah, we have third world problems on the reses and a lot of terrible shit, but have you ever gone to the Sunshine Coast and swam in Roberts Creek Beach? Do you know what that's like? Do you know what it's like to go to Seashell on the Sunshine Coast and swim in the ocean? I do. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for those experiences because those experiences got me through the terrible experiences that I've endured because of this country, because of the government, because of the churches, not because of the people. So, you ask if I'm proud to be Canadian. Yeah, I am. Because this is my home, whether I like it or not. And I'd rather be proud of the land that I came from and the memories that it has given me than hate it for everything that it has harmed me, for all the harms that it has caused me. It's something that my ancestors taught me. That's something that my people taught me. If I can find it in my heart to not hate, why can't you? Yeah, you feel my pain, but you haven't felt all of it. You've gotten a taste, but you don't have to live with the nightmares that I live with, and I can still let go. So, stop. Grow up. Quit posting this negative propaganda that's dividing us as a people. And I'm not just saying indigenous people, I'm saying us as a people in general, because that's what I care about. People, persons, human beings, humanity. I don't see the skin color. I don't see whatever it is that you identify yourself as. I see you as a person. Because that's what my people have taught me. That's what my grandma taught me. I've stepped away from my beliefs and my ideals, and I let society and the government dictate how I live and what I say and what I do, but not anymore. I'm giving you an idea. I'm giving you an idea of what it's like to be indigenous and to watch some of you people act like children over my pain, over my people's pain. I don't want you to go and burn the government down and kill the Catholic Church. I want to do that. I want to blow up the Vatican. I want to blow it all up. But you know what? I'm not going to, because I'm not going to let that kind of hate dictate my life, because it'll consume me. I let the fear of society consume me, and I lived in it, and I pushed people away. I called myself a stupid Indian, a stupid chug. A good for nothing fucking chug is what I called myself. Kind of like how some of you people are calling yourselves stupid white privileged trash. The kind of hate consumes you to the core. And then you start lashing out at people. You start lashing out at everyone, and then you can't stop because the hate just consumes you and consumes you, and then nobody wants to be with you. I don't want that for you. That's it. That's honestly it. I don't want you to hate yourself because of my pain or my people's pain. I just want you to understand and change the system. The more the more you talk shit about yourselves, the more you put yourselves down, the worse off you become. I was with this Native woman, and I I got caught up in being afraid that she's not going to that she won't bend to society's needs of what us as indigenous people need to do. I was so afraid of her making a scene and having the cops called on us that I pushed her away completely, that I had lost my temper and I acted outrageously, and I was afraid. And that's a lot of the reason why I was afraid of her and why I fucked up our relationship, was because I was full of so much self-hate and obedience to society. So, stop hating on yourself. You really want